Good afternoon and welcome to this presentation about the research project looking at self-transcendent experiences and mental well-being. Looking to see, it's a quantitative study that we carried out under the auspices of Bangor University as part of the MSc in Counselling programme in order to see if there's a correlation between reported self-transcendent experiences and reported mental well-being. And this was a study that we conducted via online questionnaire over the early stages of 2025. And here are some of the results that we found. So I suppose the first key question would be to ask, what exactly are self-transcendent experiences? So these are, in essence, moments lasting a longer or shorter time in which individuals feel a reduced or a diminished sense of self and ego and a greater enhanced connection to something greater than themselves. So some people might call that a higher power, some people might call that God, or some people might call that the universe or existence or nature. And there are numerous ways in which self-transcendent experiences can manifest themselves, or that in ways in which we can access or come closer to self-transcendence through meditative states, through certain breathing or yoga practices, through prayer, through the contemplation of nature, the contemplation of the stars and the universe. So all of these together would constitute self-transcendent experiences. And this slide is just to recap some of the examples of self-transcendent experiences. So this can be categorized as awe or wonder in the broadest possible sense. But we see reference to deep meditative or mystical states. Interestingly, also acts of profound altruism, which of course would very much reduce the sense of ego and self in favor of the other and a connectedness to humanity as a whole. Peak experiences, so states of extreme ecstasy in the psychological sense, God consciousness, a sense of the presence of the divine in our everyday life, or in these self-transcendent experiences as they arise. So, in essence, a state of deep connectedness to others, to nature, to existence, to the universe, to God, whatever we choose to call that. So, why does it matter? What in fact were we investigating? So in essence, what the research project was looking at the relationship between self-transcendence characteristics and mental well-being. Originally, there were 5 of us involved in the project. Two people are no longer on the course, and 1 person chose to pursue another research project. But we did come at this topic from a range of viewpoints, and I remember while I was particularly interested in looking at 12-step fellowships. So, for example, Alcoholics Anonymous and how that works, because AA, the 12 steps, is a spiritual program. So it posits that there is a spiritual solution to a psychological problem of addiction. One of the other collaborators was interested in the emerging research into psychedelics for the treatment of depression, particularly for treatment-resistant depression. Obviously, for a master's level counselling course, we were never going to be able to get ethical approval for a project involving psychedelic substances. So what we settled on as a research direction was self-transcendence. And what we were interested in was those people reporting a higher degree of self-transcendence characteristics, would they ultimately show greater resilience and resistance to burnout and higher levels of mental well-being compared to people with lesser levels of such. What we measured was well-being according to the Warwick Edinburgh Mental Wellbeing Scale, as developed by the Tennant team at the NHS in Scotland, and the self-transcendent experiences we measured according to the self-transcendence measure brief, STMB, developed by Wong and outlined in a paper in 2016. So the research, what we invited participants to do was to complete an online questionnaire. This could be completed in English or in Welsh. We used the SONA system. We invited participants through social media, including the counselling tutor group and some other UK-focused counselling groups. The exclusion criteria, you needed to be 18 or older. You needed to be either training to be a master's or diploma level counsellor or qualified as such. You needed to be based in the UK. So in total, we got 52 responses, of which we were able to discard, 52 in English and 2 in Welsh. And we were able to discard 6 responses because they failed to answer the survey in any meaningful way, or indicated on the exclusion criteria that they didn't meet the criteria. One further participant was culled because it was a judgment call, but it did not feel that they had made a good faith effort to complete the survey. So this is the first distribution is the age distribution. So given the exclusion criteria that you needed to be either qualified or in training, it's perhaps not surprising that there are no very young participants, but a nice distribution across the age range there. And the gender identity of participants, overwhelmingly women who answered the survey. And this is broadly in line with the BACP's own figures for the proportion of people who are counsellors in the UK. So their own figures indicate that about 80% of UK-based counsellors are women. And the ethnicity distribution of participants, which again is overwhelmingly white. So it is a problem with the research that we were unable to say very much significant about non-white participants, respondents to the survey. So what did we find? As you can see, there is a correlation, a clear positive correlation between reported levels of well-being and self-transcendent characteristics. The Pearson correlation between overall measures of self-transcendent characteristics and well-being is 0.54, which is statistically significant, moderately so, and clearly positive. So what this means is that overall, respondents who report higher levels of self-transcendence characteristics also report higher levels of mental well-being. The correlation was found to be statistically significant, with a Pearson score of 0.001. So the p-value, the fact that this p-value is very low means there is less than 0.1% probability that such a correlation would be observed by random chance if in reality no relationship existed. Although a correlation by age group, those under 25 and those aged 25 to 34, the correlations shown here are not statistically significant. The only correlations that were statistically significant amongst these data were for straight identifying counsellors and also qualified and trainee counsellors. The correlation was found to be statistically significant. Otherwise, no statistical significance was observed. So it was, as expected, we did find that there was correlation between reported self-transcendent experiences, self-transcendent experience characteristics, and mental well-being. But further research would look to uncover the direction of any causation. Is it that self-transcendent experiences in and of themselves lead to greater levels of well-being, or are people who naturally feel good more open to self-transcendent experiences? This we would aim to tease out with further research. I suspect many people will say that having a larger sample would be of benefit to making the research projects that they've carried out more robust and more meaningful. That would certainly be the case here, and ideally then we'd be able to have a larger population of trainee versus qualified participants, more of a balance of an ethnic balance as well to the data, and it would be welcome to have extra granularity on whether and which particular types of self-transcendent experience are more effective for enhancing, protecting well-being, and to understand the mechanism by which they do this. All taken together, how can these findings and future ones be incorporated into counselling training programs, such as the one that we are completing here at Bangor, to help reduce burnout amongst counsellors in training, newly qualified counsellors, and even more experienced ones, and safeguard counsellor wellbeing, because that is ultimately to the benefit of the counselling profession and to our clients, that we have a healthy body of counselling professionals able to serve the public. Here's a quick list of references. For a complete list of references, please look at the next slide, and feel free to ask me for a copy of the dissertation once it has been marked, or indeed for my reference list, my full reference list, which is quite comprehensive. I'll be happy to help with any particular questions that need answering right now. Thank you for your kind attention. I will continue to monitor my Bangor email address for at least several weeks. That is shown on there, and thereafter my personal Gmail address is endafk@gmail.com. My research collaborator on the project, Carly Byrne, I want to thank her for all of her very hard work and dedication putting together this research. And I look forward to moving forward with this research and actually, applying it in practice to see what impact self-transcendent practices have on my own well-being and on the peers I hope to work alongside in the years to come.